happened at the Capitol on January 6th was as wrong can be. It is not what America is about. Political violence of any kind is wrong. We condemn this violence. We commend the men and women of the Capitol Police for their bravery, and we mourn those who've lost their lives. All political violence should be condemned all the time. This should not be a partisan issue. Republicans have been consistent. We condemned the violence last summer. We condemned the violence last week. Congress needs to stop this effort to remove the president from office just 1 week before he is set to leave. Continued calls to impeach the president or remove him from office with using the 25th Amendment, I don't think are healthy for our nation. Rushing this resolution to the floor will do nothing to unify or heal the country. Under the plan Speaker Pelosi laid out on Sunday, the Democrats plan to impeach the president a second time just days before, as I said, he is set to leave. These actions will only again continue to divide the nation. Turning to the 25th Amendment into a political weapon by demanding that the vice president invoke it to remove the president from office, I think is just wrong. Let's be clear. Democrats have been wanting to remove President Trump from office since he won the election in 2016. They failed with the Russia investigation, they failed with the Mueller investigation, and they failed with their first impeachment investigation. So here we are again, considering another divisive effort to go after President Trump. We should use this time to bring the nation together, heal our partisan divisions. We should use this time to help the small business owners across the country who are struggling because of government's actions that close their businesses and close their stores. We should use this time to honor the men and women of law enforcement here at the Capitol and across the country who sacrifice themselves to keep our families safe. But it looks like we're not going to go down that path. We're here again to consider a Democrat resolution to attack the president just 8 days before he has said he will leave office, just 8 days before we will have a peaceful transition of power as we have had in this country every 4 or 8 years since our nation's founding. I urge my colleagues to oppose this resolution and would yield back. I did over the past several months is follow the process that the Constitution prescribes. It wasn't me who said it was Justice Ginsburg.
That's not the question I asked.
No, I'll get to the question, but I'm going to get to your comments too.
I don't need to filibuster. We just want to get.
I'm not going to filibuster, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
The late Justice Ginsburg said January 6th is the date of ultimate significance. That's how Congress set this up in the statute they passed dealing with the 12th Amendment. So we followed that process, and at 4 a.m. on Thursday, January 7th, when we concluded our business on the floor, Vice President Biden became President-elect Biden. That's how the process plays out. Those of us who spoke against the unconstitutional way several states conducted their election, we're following the process, and we did nothing different than Democrats have done every time a Republican's been elected this century. In fact, our colleague who is sponsoring this resolution objected to on January 6, 2017.
So is that
we followed the process. Of course, it's a yes, and I've said that publicly on television on Sunday.
But I'm not asking about the process. I'm asking you to make a statement that the election was not stolen, that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won fair and square. That's the question.
The question you asked me was, is Joe Biden the vice president? Is vice president?
I just repeated.
And I said yes. Of course he is.
I just repeated the question. So Joe Biden won fair and square.
He won the election because the way the process works is the last chance to object is January 6th, and
if we want to talk about
objection didn't prevail.
If we want to talk about healing, we have to talk about truth. And if we want to talk about healing, we also need to deal with the issue of accountability. And what this president incited last Wednesday is unforgivable and unconscionable. I'm used to the excesses of this president, the over-the-top statements, the pandering to some of the most intolerant.
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
Joe Biden is going to be sworn in as president. He is President-elect Joe Biden
That's
today.
Not the question I asked. That is not the question I asked. Yeah,
our concern and why we raised objections was in several states, The rules were changed in an unconstitutional fashion when the state legislature did not change election law. You had Secretary of States, you had governors, you had Supreme Courts. In some cases, you had county clerks
excuse me, I'm the
changing the
chairman of
election
this
law.
committee,
That's what
Mr.
we're pointing
Jordan.
out.
Yeah.
That's
so-
all we were pointing out.
Yeah, well.
Just like our colleague, Mr. Raskin, pointed out concerns he had on January 6, 2017, with the election of
The gentleman
Trump
was
then.
suspended. Well, you refuse to answer that question, and I think that's one of the, you want to talk
I
about.
do not refuse. He's going to be the president. I've said that on television. He's going to be the president. I know that.
That's not
The
the
country
question
knows
I
that.
asked. That is not the question I asked. I asked you to lay bare the fact that this lie out there that somehow that Joe Biden did not win the election fair and square. He did. The president to this day continues to perpetrate that. And so does.
Are you saying there was no problems with, there was no concerns with this election? Is that what you're saying, Mr. Chairman? Of course, I understand Joe Biden won, but are you saying there's no concerns with this election?
I will yield to the gentleman from Maryland if he has